My name is Halsnight,
I'm Michael.
And I'm Ted.
and we're about to talk about the news that happened over the course of this week, and boy, have we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Project Morpheus had their name changed, and the official name, because Project Morpheus was not the official name, was announced.
Name.
Yeah. Can you guess what it is? It's a very epic name.
It's very
Okay,
original.
fine. We'll try to keep it mundane. Perhaps Looking Glass.
No,
That would actually be more epic.
that would, yeah,
Fish Eye.
no.
Okay, I'm done.
You already know what it is.
I already know.
It's called PlayStation VR.
Oh, brilliant.
Sony.
Yeah, let's
Yeah. I think
take-
everyone
let's-
knew it
let's-
as Morpheus. so-
Let's take a moment to just
Yeah.
Like, the PS Morpheus VR or something.
No, just the Morpheus was good. You know, Morpheus is the Greek god of something to do with something. Dreams? I think it's the Greek god of dreams. So it made sense
Mm.
in a way. And Morpheus is from the Matrix, which is virtual reality enslavement. So, hey. Okay, that's why they changed it. Okay.
Well, they also may have changed it just for better marketing,
I guess, yeah.
simpler marketing. I don't.
Maybe. But, I thought Morpheus was still cooler. Also the pricing.
Before moving on, concerning this renaming,
Yeah.
Yes.
what were some of the comments from users online? What was the typical reaction?
Was, really,
Really?
Yeah, pretty
Really?
much.
yeah, it was just really, no one was
Yeah.
impressed by that rename.
I'm not surprised. I mean, even for someone like myself who had no idea that it became PlayStation VR, it's a bit of a dud.
Would it
Yeah.
work on PC though?
I doubt it. I don't know though. But also the pricing was mentioned, what the pricing would be like,
Mhm.
and they said that the pricing would be like it's a new gaming platform. So that
So
makes
we're looking
sense.
$400?
I would
For the
assume.
Kita
See,
Loop.
they didn't say gaming console.
Yeah.
They said gaming platform. I don't know whether that equals like you buy another PS3 and that's the Morpheus kit, or I mean the VR kit. or...
It's going to be a companion for the PS4,
It
and
has-
perhaps support for the PS5 when
Yeah.
it comes out, unless they make
No, but
another
the pricing.
revision of it.
the
The
pricing,
pricing
would
I'm
it be like a
suspecting is
PS4?
400,
Yeah.
because beyond that will be way too much. And I know the Oculus Rift is, well, I don't know indefinitely, but from just scouring over the past few months, the talks are it's going to be average range of 400.
Wow.
400 or so. So I'm assuming the HTC Vive will be like,
Around
well,
that
not
much.
be like, but will be around that price range as well. So
Fair
it makes
enough.
sense if it's around that much.
Yeah, moving on to other news. The BBC did a feature called The Game Changers, not related to the local store. And basically, it was I didn't actually watch the feature, but it was something about during the time of the release of San Andreas. The feature basically shows the precedent of Rockstar, and as well as like different hip hop and rap influences along that time. And basically, Rockstar got really upset with this, calling it random made up bollocks. What do you guys think?
I haven't seen it yet, but if the producers of this did not actually communicate with Rockstar to get the facts straight, then that was very silly.
See, but that's the thing. Like, now this was one BBC feature, right? That did it. There was also some issues with like The Social Network, which is a movie depicting all this other stuff about
The formation of Facebook, I presume.
yeah, and you know how accurate was that? And then you look, if you go further, you look at weird stuff that talks about Atari and the whole crash that happened. There've been so many movies that came
Well,
out,
a lot of,
and then you go into historical documentaries like, yeah. I don't really know.
I think part of this Game Changers feature, the hook in this feature was that it was depicting a court case between
Daniel Radcliffe and someone else. Right?
Yeah, basically speaking in real life terms, Sam Hauser and some Californian lawyer who was talking about the extreme violence in Grand Theft Auto games.
Oh, the
Yeah, and
Jack was it
Thompson, I think.
Jack Thompson?
Well, his name was something close to that. So
I don't remember.
basically, that was a lot of the hook of the movie. Then there was a lot of mixing in of the origins of Rockstar as a company as a result, showing how the Hauser brothers were rebels with a cause and blah blah blah. But since they didn't get any of their facts straight, apparently.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it appears to be bombing, among various communities and
amongst the gaming community. Probably, yeah.
And fans, I suppose.
I don't know. I might try and get my hands on that just to see what it was about.
Well, that in itself makes it an attractive prospect, I suppose.
And good news, Need for Speed. The developer Ghost Games for the new Need for Speed game, they basically said that they're not going to have any microtransactions in the game, and they also said that they haven't planned on releasing any paid DLC. Which is, I didn't expect that.
Well, my worries about Wildrim DLCs from last week's show can be put to rest then. But anyone celebrating that there are no microtransactions, that's something obvious. It should never even have been mooted. But anyway, that's just me.
Yeah, also, just to clarify, DLC, in case you're not familiar, it stands for downloadable content. We got, sorry to take you back, we got some feedback from our listeners in the past, so we'll be just clarifying some of the abbreviations just to make everything a little more understandable in case you're new to gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the abbreviation for Need for Speed is NFS. Yeah. What do you think about the no microtransactions?
Obviously, I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
Because
they've been
when it comes to DLC and microtransactions, there's a very delicate line that you need to cross, or rather need to respect, where on one hand you're trying to supplement additional income and make whatever it is you're offering appealing, but on the other hand, if you go to the extreme and you essentially develop it as a pay to win, or you need to pay in order to actually play the game properly, that's when things get a little stupid.
Yeah.
You remember it was a rumor where EA in this particular game was going to start offering microtransactions for fueling your car. So of course that would have caused a thorough riot. In regards to DLC, I guess aside from additional vehicles, yeah, it could be fun. I mean, as long as the DLC respects the gameplay mechanics, and
doesn't hold the game back.
The content and nature of the DLC is priced respectably and respectfully, then in principle I don't have too many qualms with DLC. My qualms are usually with the developers or publishers who go a bit overboard, where the
locking off content,
where the I don't want to say greed, but definitely the intention to milk as much as possible doesn't really reflect on the quality and necessity of a DLC.
It's a very tight rope to walk.
Yeah.
But we'll wait and see what happens. They're definitely going to release DLC. That's without fail. The moment they say we haven't planned it yet, that basically means anticipated. Because if they're not, they would say we are not. But if they're leaving it open, there's a very good chance they will.
Yeah, maybe.
Which is not.
It's not bad. It's not bad, but let's see.
But again, it depends on what it is.
Yeah. Also, in other news, Yakuza, the first one, is getting a remaster, and apparently on that, when you get the remaster, it's going to have a demo of Yakuza 6.
So the first Yakuza game, if I remember correctly, was released on the PlayStation 2. Back in
1, yeah.
Yeah, back in, was it 2006?
I don't know.
Must have been the tail the tail end of its lifetime, like within the last 3 years of its lifetime. And this new edition is referred to as what? Kawami?
I don't know.
I remember this was as part of the ongoing
it was
Tokyo
on
Game
TGS,
Show.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah, basically what you can expect: reworked textures, extra effects for the. Well, the scenes are the same. I don't think they're going to add extra content, because last time I checked, there were no extra levels or early DLC for the game. But they seem, in terms of what they have shown off in trailers and stuff, it seems to be a pretty faithful remaster with some good, extra mechanics thrown at the side. Not too many details yet, but it's a good effort.
I must say,
I'd say.
those games look amazing.
They-
They
yeah.
really look beautiful. Especially if you're into anime.
Has an international release been considered, or
I
is
think
it still just
all
Japan?
the games had a Western release, as far as I know.
Yes, I know the old one did.
No,
but this
I know
Kawami,
that
this
2,
Kawami
3.
is. Oh, okay.
I'm yeah.
Well, we can only hope. That would be a good addition.
So yeah, well, from TGS, the only thing I heard about that had like a separate release date was actually Dark Souls 3. It's slated for March in Japan and April of next year everywhere else. So that was the only Western Eastern thing that I came across.
Well, also to add on to that further,
Yeah.
the Japanese development house Koei Tecmo are releasing yet another Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
I shall explain. It's the 30th entry in a long-running series of real-time strategy games, and it is based on a very old historical epic depicting the Han Dynasty from 169 to 280 AD. So all the, just the political intrigues have been reworked and adapted onto various animations and older games by the same company for years. Yeah, so the latest entry is coming out in Japan, actually at the tail end of this year, December 10th, 2015, for the PlayStation 3, the PlayStation 4, and PC. So apparently, it's a big deal. Unfortunately, listeners, none of us have touched the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. But apparently, this one seems to be, well, some of their best work from what people are saying, hopefully.
Like, how many romances of the Three Kingdoms have you touched?
Yes.
Sorry,
The
I had to do
innuendo
it. I had to. Sorry, go on.
What else we got? Well, we're still talking about animations. The immensely popular Attack on Titan anime, if you're into anime again, is being made into a game by the same company, Koei Tecmo.
Yeah.
As of this time, there's no, there's no locked-in release date for the game, even in Japan. But some gameplay trailers are out in the wild,
Yeah, and also what they
and also
said.
placeholders.
Yeah, and also what they said was with this game, they're actually following the first season of the anime,
Which was epic.
which is really good because the movie has kind of messed around with that roughly. If you've watched it, I don't know.
The movie is a
And-
train wreck.
And apparently, even the previous game that was out for it, called Humanity in Chains, apparently also
Yes, that was on the
it had some issues
Nintendo
with
3DS.
the source material. I'm not sure what it was on.
I think it was the 3DS.
Yes, unfortunately, what we are trying to say is that a lot of the older Attack on Titan games have been disastrous.
I
In our
remember
considered opinion.
looking at an indie game for Attack on Titan. It was so funny. It involved blocks, and all the Titans were basically blocks, and a Spider-Man kind of dynamic with you needing to hit them right at the back. It was really hard.
Well, they still have that. They still have that back of the neck kill.
Yeah.
Yes, I made that up.
Yeah.
Um,
Spoiler.
They
Maybe we
have-
should have said spoiler alert.
My apologies.
That's okay.
But they have that mechanic locked in, including dismemberment of limbs for the big giants that you have to fight in the towns. In terms of the look of the game, they have gotten the models of the towns right. The animation style is actually present and correct, including the art design. So, extremely hopeful for the game. Although my personal gripe is that the physics don't seem particularly realistic. You can fall from very crazy heights without getting hurt. But it's
going to be an arcade experience. I doubt it's a simulator.
Oh, I don't think the show really was realistic.
No, but little niggles.
Yeah, fair enough.
Look, whether it's arcade or not, aside from that, as long as it flows, because that's the beauty of Attack on Titan, it's the way they flow.
I'm hoping it plays like the Spider-Man game.
That they have right.
If that's in play and the combat with that being considered is fun and cohesive, then it should be fun.
And one other addition, I do believe they allow for team-based battles. So, of course, you can hook up with other characters in the show and go for special, is it 2-3-man party missions or so? From what I saw in the gameplay videos. It's really not
innuendo here.
We are trying to behave ourselves.
Yeah, sorry.
Hell's Night.
It's fine. Did you want to add anything else?
Yes.
Go on.
Straight from the Tokyo Game Show as well, another upcoming role-playing game called Tales of Zestiria by Bandai Namco there's a bit of bad news that has surfaced, at least for PC gamers, or those who are used to higher frame rates in their games. They basically confirmed, before Mike kills me...
Hold on, let me guess. Let me guess.
Yes, fair.
Does this have something to do with locking a specific feature?
Look.
Am I getting warm?
Very, very warm, actually.
Does it involve the number 3 in it?
Yes, 3 and multiples of 3. Carry on.
Is there a 0?
Yes, it is locked to 30 frames per second. Okay?
Wow.
I will repeat. I will repeat that. I will repeat that again. The upcoming Tales of Zestiria for PC, PS4, and PlayStation 3, at least in Western-speaking territories, and international release is locked to 30 frames per second. According to their press release, they stated the following. It's now time to talk about the frame rate. All versions of Tales of Zestiria will run at a constant 30 frames per second. Before you run off to the comment section, hear us out. The Tales of Battle system has always been an integral part of the gameplay experience, obviously, and changing the frame rate proved to have profound consequences on things like animation, balance, difficulty, and overall fighting mechanics, tuning. We do this in the best interest for the player's experience. Now, translation.
They don't know
This is a translation.
Okay, feel free, Mikey.
They designed the game at 30 FPS, fine.
Yes.
What they're saying here is that they're not interested in digging in the code to make it work at 60. So the language here is that rather than releasing it and having everyone pissed off at them,
Yes.
they're saying that they're not going to work on it, but they're going to release it at 30 and let you know because it's for your own good. Because apparently 60 FPS and beyond is just way too much for the brain to handle.
Well, according to a lot of...
Okay, obviously I'm being very sarcastic.
According to the discussions that have been going on online, because gaming communities have blown up. It's still ongoing till now. Basically, this is a gist. There are some people who just believe that extra assets, extra draw distance in the game, and effects necessitate this kind of thing. We can let go of it on the PC crowd, I suppose. Others just insist that uniformity is a good thing. So it's down to your preference. I really don't know what to feel about this, because personally, there are certain titles I've bought from other companies, Square Enix, I'm looking at you, that have been locked in this fashion. I don't know what to say anymore at this point, especially for a new title that presumably is still being, polished.
But at least
I
in
don't know.
Square's defense,
Yeah,
FF13 and 13.2
were very ancient.
had a patch afterwards to unlock the FPS, at least to go up to 60. Type 0 hasn't, and I suspect they won't.
The best that Type 0 has done, I can report from yesterday's patch release, they've released new resolutions from 1280 by 720 up until 2K, I presume, at best. And some laptop resolutions in the middle. So I suppose that's a good thing. But yes, it is still locked at 30 frames per second. Carry on, Mike.
For those of you who don't know, frame rates are a huge issue when it comes to PC gaming. It basically allows for a really smooth experience to a very standard-ish one, although those terms are a bit debatable in the community right now.
Frames per second is literally how many images are shown on the screen in a second.
Yeah.
So the higher the value, the smoother the experience is, and also the smoother the sensation is of how you are actually interacting in the game you are playing.
So think camera movements.
Exactly.
Not necessarily effects, but animation frames as well. That's also a factor, and that's a factor that I came across when discussing with various gamers on forums. A lot of people are saying, this isn't your average. Maybe apologies for going on another tangent. Devil May Cry experience from Capcom, where you need pitch perfect animations and accuracy, and that's where your 60 frames per second and above would help you. They are simply stating that an open world role-playing games like Tales doesn't really need to have unlocked frames, but all this is debatable.
It's really subjective.
Yeah, it's really, really subjective. And personally, if this doesn't affect the overall stability of the game, I don't know. It's
when it comes to the FPS argument, it really boils down to two things. One is the creative outlook from the developers, like they want to give it the supposed cinematic experience.
No, I've not heard that in a while.
Fair enough. Okay.
Well, the
second is also really the limitations on the hardware. It will fall into one of those two categories. Now, if you are going to bring a game onto a platform that in its nature is upgradable enough to provide more than enough horsepower to play that game very comfortably beyond 30 frames per second,
then by all
provide
means.
the choice.
Yeah.
Evil Within was released and it was locked at 30, again with the quote that it was for the cinematic experience. The PC community obviously got upset.
Well, yeah.
And eventually it was unlocked. Okay. Provide the choice.
I really don't know. I really don't know where Bandai Namco will go with this, because according to the statement that that we've just discussed, they've gone through all the trouble to make a very worded press release, which personally, it was ill-advised, because as you stated, they really should have just kept, just stated facts. One time, our game is coming out at 30 frames per second. I hope you'll enjoy it. If this is not an issue for you, feel free to purchase it. And then just call it a day. Do not go into extra tales, no pun intended.
It's better they announced it now than having left it blank and gotten the backlash from the community with the intensity it would have if they hadn't.
Yeah, my issue though is don't go into any further explanation. Don't talk about about balance, difficulty,
how do you announce that your product is not going to be smooth on a platform and not
or unlocked
and just leave it at that without an excuse or something. So, they had to do it.
Just to top this point off, that announcement was really, if you read in between the lines,
Here.
a fancy way of saying that the game is going to be at 30 FPS. That's how the game was tweaked and designed. We're not actually going to change it, so we're just letting you know in advance. That's literally what it's about.
In
much.
other news, also FPS related, Halo 5 Guardians will be at an astonishing 60 frames per second on the Xbox. You must be overjoyed, but they are accomplishing this through a new system called progressive resolution scaling. Sorry, yeah.
Dynamic
And
resolution.
yeah, so basically the resolution as you're playing will change.
So the heavier the scene,
to keep
the shitter it's going to look.
yeah, and the Xbox, of course, being plagued with weird issues to do with the frame rate and not being able.
So
to handle
while-
it. It's quite weird.
Look, if they bring it on PC, as long as that crap isn't there, then okay. Because on a console, at the end of the day, you don't really have much choice. Those are the specs of the hardware. The developers are in between a rock and a hard place on trying to make the best of the machine, but also deal with the expectations of gamers. So I hope this is a lesson that in the future, when they're creating hardware, to make sure that it's potent enough. But of course, it's not that they didn't want to do that. Economics come into play. But this is a paradigm that's just going to have to be put up with as long as money in consoles exist the way they do.
Compromises have to be made.
Look, it's
Regardless.
look. Let's see what it actually looks like.
Yeah.
Because I doubt it's going to be such a stark contrast. Like you're playing a 1080p and all of a sudden
It just
it's scaled
just
down to
starts.
640 by 480. They know that gamers are going to
Notice.
be nitpicking this
Yeah.
very heavily.
I
So
don't know.
maybe there'll be other techniques or shaders that they'll use to compensate for that. I don't know. But let's see what happens when it comes.
At least they're trying.
Yeah.
In other news from TGS, also the PS4 has faceplates that were announced, different colors of faceplates and different colors of controllers. What do you guys think? Really fast.
Okay. I saw some of these. You have the skins which can go on the controller, and the LED portion behind the controller is where you can put these stickers. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, don't care. I think they're trying to be Apple.
No, they're just offering the idea of customization, which obviously there are a good number of users that actually care. Personally,
Yeah.
I really don't care.
I just
But-
consider it a fad and call it a day.
I did want to spray paint.
For those who enjoy it, they have the options now, so good for them.
All
I
right.
suppose so.
Also, I want to take you back to the Bandai Namco stuff.
Yes.
Project Cross Zone 2 is coming out in February next year on the 3DS.
What
And-
is Project Exo?
And as I'm glad you asked. It's basically a game that sort of crosses the Sega franchise with Bandai Namco's franchises. So you have Street Fighter characters, you have
Yes.
Tekken characters, you have that lawyer dude, Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
Is his
Phoenix
name
Wright?
Phoenix Wright? Yeah,
Yes.
the objection.
I object.
Yeah, that guy. So, and it's a tactical turn-based game.
Oh, so
with those characters.
it's a tactical turn-based role-playing game, I presume, because you have to
Yep.
level up characters.
I
think
don't know if it's involves leveling up, but
So
I
it's,
just know it's tactical.
different
Alright.
Japanese IPs
Um,
crossing together.
yeah, Sega, Bandai Namco. Yeah,
Which-
Sega
What
characters.
Sega characters?
I would assume Sonic.
That would be funny.
I didn't read the whole roster, but I would assume Sonic.
Let's see.
If they had the
But I know Capcom is heavily represented. I'm guessing people from the Resident Evil franchise, maybe Dante from Devil May Cry, that kind of thing.
So
The
this is
Tekken
what
roster.
Capcom and Namco, basically. So
Well,
far.
and Sega.
That's a very crazy mashup. And you said it's a second edition.
Yeah.
So
Apparently
it's
there's a first
just
that I have
so
not heard of.
basically it's just an increasing of the roster from the first edition that we sadly have not touched.
I don't know any of the gameplay details.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. Moving on. So, Bloodborne is also getting their expansion, although I don't remember the release date. It's called The Old Hunters. Have you guys played Bloodborne? Bloodborne?
Blablan.
Blah.
I
Bless
haven't
you.
played Blablan yet.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah.
Unfortunately, I don't have a PS4 at the moment.
I
Yeah.
did try it out.
Yeah.
You know, I was just thrown in the middle of a boss fight. It's just think
It's Dark Souls for you.
just think a very frenetic version of Dark Souls, much faster movement, easier dodging, and set in a very, very pretty, dark,
I would call it.
a dark, gothic, and pretty looking world because the graphics are amazing.
And there is PvP as well.
Yes, through an
Can you-
online component.
Okay, and
Yeah.
can you still teabag guys that you've pwned?
Not to the best of my not to the best of my knowledge. I didn't really have enough time to go into the online component as such, like in
Okay.
terms of the PvP, but but communicating with players in front of my shrine, what passes for fireplaces from Dark Souls. That's about the extent of the online features that I could
wonder
access at the
why-
time.
I wonder why it hasn't come out to PC yet. It's
Probably
alright.
exclusivity deal between them and Sony.
Which is running pretty long
Oh,
thus far.
Fair enough.
this is not as obnoxious as Microsoft with Tomb Raider.
Speaking of obnoxious,
Timed exclusives, eh?
Nonsense.
speaking of obnoxious,
Uh-huh.
you're gonna love this. Kingdom Hearts, a new game was announced, and it is the 3Pi 78.38986 dropping from the Moonfang Destiny game, I think.
What?
Yeah. Okay, you'll correct me if I'm wrong. I just hate their
Kingdom
naming
Hearts 2.9.
something.
Ah.
Or 2.8.
And at the
something,
same
something.
show, dear listener, they had already announced Kingdom Hearts 2.8 HD remaster containing 3 different games and extra cutscenes. A lot of stuff.
Listeners, Kingdom Hearts is a game that basically took Final Fantasy characters and Disney characters and put them in a game, and it's a really beloved franchise, but in my opinion, it has the worst names for games in the world. I am actually considering that I might actually look up and compile a list of all those names.
And
Just for you.
and just to match the crazy naming conventions, they have been released on as many systems. Whereas you have your PlayStation 2 entry, you have your PlayStation Portable entry as well, and your PlayStation 3 entry, and your remaster. I guess you're getting the idea.
And then you have
It's
the
convoluted.
remix as well, which is
Exactly.
completely... And then the drop distance. Oh my lord.
So, which, for the sake of the listener, just to remind them, which company is releasing this thing?
Kingdom Hearts.
Yes.
That's a Square Enix IP.
Yet I
Well,
guess
originally Squaresoft, before
Yeah.
the merger of Squaresoft and Enix.
yet again they come,
And Disney
they come
as
up.
well, obviously.
Yeah.
What else? Naughty Dog were in the news twice. So basically, one of the creative directors at Naughty Dog asked Valve for the Half-Life license, which received pretty mixed reviews, pretty mixed speculations online. Comments, speculations. Yeah. What do you guys think?
The Naughty Dog guys were behind Uncharted.
Yeah, Naughty Dog were the guys behind Uncharted, The Last of Us, Crash?
Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
The Crash Bandicoot series. A few of them. I know there were third parties that did more
Yeah,
work with the
yes.
IP after, but essentially Naughty Dog created the Crash Bandicoot IP, the Jack and Daxter IP, Uncharted, and
The
The
Last
Last
of
of
Us.
Us.
yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of The Last of Us, they also again hinted at A Last of Us 2 coming out during a live stream.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm excited at the prospect because the Uncharted series and The Last of Us,
Yeah.
I love.
Yeah, they were
I
really good.
really enjoyed them.
I
And we're
haven't
PC
experienced
gamers
it,
and we
honestly.
liked it.
Yeah.
It's so good. They're so
we're,
good.
we're not snobbish where if it's not on a PC, it doesn't mean the game is inherently bad. Because there are definitely plenty of games on PC which suck. Well,
So-
obviously from my taste
Exactly,
and perspective.
Yeah.
So, with that said, what do you
What-
think
what
you
do I
would do with them taking the Half-Life license?
Look, two things. First, this just goes to show how much they love the IP. And secondly, well, within the first point, they love it to the point that they're willing to want to work on the, at this point, nefarious Half-Life 3 entry, which the gaming world is waiting
they
for.
didn't actually say Half-Life 3.
They didn't say Half-Life 3,
They just said
but
the license.
you
But
see,
I
what
guess
they
it's
said is that
implied.
give us the IP and we'll take care of it.
Yeah.
Now, it's not in the realm of
What is it? What if it was like a Half-Life Uncharted edition?
no. I'm pretty sure they're referring to Half-Life 3.
Yeah.
You know, you guys,
Yeah.
Valve, you're busy creating the Steam platform and raking in, those dollars.
Yeah.
So just let us handle the IP. We'll take care of the third end.
But what happens to platform
I-
considerations?
Yeah, because they've never developed a PC game. That's
Do
the
you
first
know-
thing. And also, they've never done an FPS before.
Dude, the world would actually crack in half if Naughty Dog got the IP
Yeah.
and released it just on Sony platform. Heads will explode. But look, it's not going to happen. And even if it did, no matter how good they are, I highly doubt they will finish the series off the way the team that have created the Half-Life series up until now have. It's not to discredit their capabilities, because the Naughty Dog team are a group of amazingly talented people.
Yeah.
I don't know if their style, however, will translate to creating Half-Life 3.
Okay. Well, in other news that got me really excited is Rebel Galaxy finally got a release date, which is the 20th of October.
Rebel Galaxy, if I'm guessing correctly, it's a space sim.
It's a space game. Guess who made it?
I really have no idea at this point.
The guys who did Diablo and Torchlight. And I don't mean the recent Diablo.
Was it Runic Studios?
Gosh, no, they call themselves Double Damage. Yeah.
Okay.
And the thing is, it's been in early access. I was actually following it because it reminds me of Firefly. And they've actually
Yes.
said that they took a lot of the inspiration from Firefly to design some of the art assets.
So do you have any ideas of gameplay mechanics? Does it have
I've seen a bit, but I'm not sure I understand it. So it's sort of like action RPG-ish,
Yes.
but it's not like a clicker. Like it's sort of like a third-person view of your ship. But like, it's not as like clicky like Diablo or Torchlight.
So
I want to
the-
try it out.
Yeah, it's-
for sure. Because, yeah, like those guys did really good jobs on Diablo and Torchlight, and now they're doing a space game, which I'm kind of jazzed about. Anything to say about that?
No.
Okay. Then, in other news, Rainbow Six Siege will basically be coming out with 10 maps, and that was news. And they said that they'll basically add more content in terms of maps and stuff later on as DLC.
They did specify that it was free.
Really?
Ubisoft stated that they had ambitious plans for their upcoming game, and that additional maps, again I will repeat, additional maps would be completely free.
Okay.
Anything else, we can assume that weaponry perks in the game could mean something. You'd have to pay something for them. You take it with a pinch of salt. Just be wary.
I just had a funny idea.
Tell me. Well, tell us.
Ubisoft is planning on creating a theme park, right? So
Oh, no.
if they create scenes or events using existing IP, Will there be DLC to access additional rides or?
You get a ticket, but if you get a DLC ticket or the season pass ticket, oh
Yeah.
my god.
Let's
That would
not
be
let's
silly.
not give anyone ideas.
If it,
That would be an
Oh,
idea that they would
just-
use.
if it does come to fruition in any way, you heard it here first.
You can blame us.
Let's move on a bit swiftly. Swiftly. And so, the Order of the Stone is a really epic name for Minecraft's new story mode, which is actually coming out October 13th or 15th if you're on iOS and Android. And it's being handled by Telltale Games, and it's going to be episodic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys played Minecraft?
I've played very little. I'm maybe played an hour or two worth. I mean, it's fun, but just not my cup of tea.
I've never even tried it.
I want to try it. I want to try and build a jail. Don't
Believe
ask me
me,
why.
that
but-
people have already built whole cities.
Yeah,
It's-
well, there was a while ago where guys developed like Minecraft. They kind of made like they recreated one of the slums here, isn't it?
Yes, the creator of Minecraft,
Mojang?
Yeah, Mojang.
Yeah,
There was some work that he'd done here before.
yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Minecraft is basically Lego on PC as a game.
It's an
Kind
open world game where you are the creator and the player in the same game.
Moving on swiftly. World of Tanks is coming to PS4, and it will be free regardless of whether you have a PSN account or not. I think there's going to be a beta for it. There's going to be a beta for it first. Have you guys tried it?
No.
Let's
Not
move
at
on
all.
swiftly. What else? MGS Online is also going to be free if you have Metal Gear Solid: The Phantom Pain. Did you guys hear anything about that? Metal Gear
It makes
Online.
sense.
I don't actually know what platform it comes on.
It'll most likely be on all the platforms that it's been released on so far.
Okay.
PS4, Xbox One, and then,
PC.
knowing our luck, it'll probably be delayed on PC for whatever reason.
No, so the release date of it was October 6th.
Did they specify the platforms?
No, they didn't specify the platforms.
Oh, we'll
so
see.
it is
And
basically
I
a
don't-
placeholder date at
and-
best.
And so that means that Konami didn't handle it then if they're closing up.
Yeah,
Which is our other story is Konami are closing down production on their AAA games. And earlier on they had said that they will be focusing on mobile development. Except for PES though. PES they're still
Yeah,
continuing.
So
Pro
basically-
Evolution Soccer is still going to be maintained. I don't know if there'll be future versions. Any other IPs that Konami have for games, I don't know if they're going to abandon them entirely. They will probably depend on third-party studios to do it now. But they want to focus their resources on mobile games and slot machines.
So basically, where we stand is
Well,
that
in
they
Konami.
are developing Metal Gear Online at this point and Pro Evolution Soccer, while ostensibly abandoning the likes of Castlevania, Suikoden, Zone of the Enders, some of the biggest names that we've grown up with for well over 25 years.
I have not played any of those, but I played Turtles.
Fair enough. It's actually in my view that's very sad to hear, but
No, I will get to
It kind of it breaks my dream a little because I was always hoping that there would be a special Metal Gear Solid
edition.
like anniversary edition of some kind that would include MGS 1 all the way up to 4, released on the current gen
5.
platforms as well as PC.
Isn't this one 5?
Yeah, Phantom Pain is 5, but
Yeah.
like the
It's already
MGS HD collection and MGS 4,
Okay.
and preferably the first one, either the PS version or maybe the GameCube version from Silicon Knights.
And
But
the
just
Peace
for
Walker.
PC
Yeah.
gamers to have the entire collection.
I'm sure Russia will crack it.
But when it comes,
Absolute worst case, we just wait a little while longer and we'll just emulate everything.
the IP,
Random tidbit.
yep.
The PlayStation 3 emulator and the Xbox 360 emulator, RCPS3 and Xenia, respectively, are
Yes.
booting games now.
Huh.
That is amazing progress. It's actually booting games.
Sweet. Let's see if we can play them. Well, let's see how long it takes for them to make them playable.
I know.
Maybe 2 years?
RCPS3 is playing Metal Slug
Okay.
smoothly,
Wow.
and Xenia is playing some titles with 3D geometry. Yeah. It's good news.
Okay. Well, in other weird good news, well, good for me. The Witness has a release date, and it is coming out January the 26th.
But
What is The Witness? The Witness is, if you have heard of a game called Braid.
yes, I have.
Jonathan Blow
platformer?
was... Yes.
Okay.
So Braid is a puzzle platformer. It's
Yes.
pretty hardcore, but one of the best level designs I have ever witnessed in an indie game or in a game in general. It's so good and hard, but just it's so good. And the creator behind that, his name is Jonathan Blow. And this time round, he says that it will take you 80 to 100 hours to actually finish the game, depending on how much of a completionist you are.
Wow.
Which is a bit troubling. Because Braid was not a very, very long game. It was not.
It was like what? Speaking at 9 hours or so?
No, like, after you get the gist, honestly, you can do a quick run-through of the entire game if you know
Okay.
how to solve it. It's a puzzle platform. So, yeah, it was in trying to figure out the solutions that kept you going. This one, the fact that he said completionist makes me think that it's something to do with collectibles.
Collectibles and in-game achievements, I presume.
Yeah. And it kind of looked a bit like the Talos Principle with this weird maze dynamic that they have going on.
Okay.
Yeah, so it might be one to keep your eyes open if Braid was anything to go by. I'm honestly really, really curious to see what he comes up with. So yeah, January. In other news, there was a new console-y thing released. Console-y thing released. It's called the Amazon Fire Gaming Edition. Amazon Fire TV Gaming Edition. And basically what it is the Amazon Fire TV, which comes with a controller that kind of looks like the Xbox controller, and it comes preloaded with Shovel Knight and DuckTales.
So what is it running off of? Is it Android based?
It is actually a
And-
streaming thing, but
Most likely Android.
yeah. In other news, there's so much news. Battlefront beta will be open to everybody, and they've said that all you need is a PC or a PS4 to have access to it, or an Xbox. Yeah, to have access to
A
it.
PC that meets the system requirements.
So I don't know if it's Origin only. And the other thing they said about it is it will have, you can play it offline. They have a survival mode.
Oh, interesting.
So basically, see, there are two ways of looking at this. Like, yeah, I'm kind of excited that it's not got an online only thing, but to celebrate the fact that they put something that I feel should have been there by default is a bit strange.
Hopefully it's a precedent that they'll continue to revert back to the way it should be.
Yeah, like if we look at the news for Need
Dedicated
for Speed
servers.
as well, yeah.
On PC, it's going to need Origin.
Let's hope not. They didn't say that. They said all you need is a PC, and I will honestly just hold my breath till it comes out.
If it doesn't require Origin, I will be very surprised.
Okay, the Xbox controller is also coming out on October the 27th. It's the Xbox Elite controller, sorry. Which,
Their
glorified.
their spiritual answer to, well, from the way I see it, spiritual answer to the Steam controller. Well, at least, okay, maybe not directly, but definitely inspired somewhat, especially for
Doesn't have mouse.
the rear pad triggers.
It allows for replaceable
Oh.
buttons.
And along the same date line, and I'm assuming this will also apply to the Elite controller,
Yes.
they're going to be releasing a wireless transmitter
Oh,
for PC, for Windows 10. So you can use the Xbox One controller or this Elite controller wirelessly. Because up until now, it's not been possible.
okay. So, in other news, in terms of EA, I should have transitioned a little earlier, but there was a weird legal case. So, those of you who don't know, FIFA, the football game, in the latest version, they added women's soccer teams, football teams,
Yes.
to the roster, and basically, there's a group called the NCAA in the States, and they basically said that there are 13 female players in the game that they needed to remove because it affects them being eligible to attend colleges that they sponsor.
What's up
They're
with
they're actually coming under fire for having such weird restrictions because they're known for not letting student athletes earn money through sports and have all sorts of weird conditions. I honestly don't know how this works in America because it's a lot of reading into the law and politics and it's just sad. It's just sad. I actually feel for EA because that was a really good move on their behalf to add female soccer teams to FIFA. So, yeah. No one else did it.
That's really a troubling development.
Yeah. Well, let's see how it gets wrapped up. And the last bit of news that I had. Star Fox has been delayed to 2016.
Star Fox for the Nintendo Wii U?
Yep.
Or no. Let's be specific. That would be Star Fox Zero.
Star Fox Zero, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my view is that's a big hole in their upcoming roster, I think.
Yeah, but
In terms of big names.
at the same time, everyone, like when they were showing it off at E3, everyone who tried playing it, they were kind of iffy about it. They said that the controls were a bit iffy and that it was kind of difficult, and they did complain. I did see quite a few people complain about it. So they did say that they're
This year
trying
has
to work
taken
on
a
it.
hit in terms of.
Delays in general, despite not really satiating the impatience of gamers,
Yeah.
is ultimately a good thing. Depending on the circumstances behind it, but considering Nintendo, if they're delaying it, there's a very good reason for it. It's the same with the Zelda game. And I remember there was a video put out with, I think it was Miyamoto and, I don't know if it was Miyamoto, but the creator of Zelda.
Okay.
He actually released a video explaining that it's not in the state that he wants it to be, and he simply needs more time.
Yeah, in fact, it was Shigeru Miyamoto is actually the one who made that announcement.
Yeah.
That they need to tweak things and improve things, everything across the board.
Nintendo's fascinating that way, because to release a video to somewhat personally explain it and show a lot of, consideration and respect and humility at the same time.
Yeah.
It's
That's interesting.
I do
Yes.
think that's a Nintendo and also Japan's thing.
yes,
Yeah.
Because there are a
Japanese
few
culture.
there are a few Japanese devs who
Yeah.
do that
Mhm.
in their trailers as well. Yeah, that's all I have.
Well, for those of you who own a Wii U at this point, at least you can look forward to Xenoblade Chronicles. Should still be making an international release as of December this year.
Apparently Splatoon is really good,
Yeah, so
from what I heard.
Team Fortress, some modders added similar premise of having shooting paint as well.
yes.
And I think there's also there was another game I saw that was attempting to mimic the same thing. I can't remember for the life of me what it's called.
Respect to Nintendo,
Yeah.
man. Did you have anything else? Mike, did you have anything else?
No, I think We're good.
All right, so that's it for our show. We apologize on the maybe lack of details with some of the stories that we've had. It's just been really, 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 really hectic in terms of the amount of news we've been getting. And we might change things up on our blog and our Facebook page, which are both up, in case you haven't checked it out. You can look for those on Facebook. It's called Ponage254. Our blog is also on WordPress at ponage254.wordpress.com. Our YouTube page is also probably going to have some content once we upload the other podcasts. We'll be doing that this week. You can check that out. That's also, the channel is called Ponage254. You can follow me on Facebook. My name is Halsnight.
I'm Ted.
And Mike.
Happy gaming!
Happy gaming.